series. Day 6, Workshop 2. Speakers of the day, Anagha and Samyukta. Good afternoon and a warm welcome to our esteemed guests, faculties, and fellow students. I hope all of you are keeping yourself safe, healthy in this difficult time. We are really grateful to our esteemed management, our beloved convener, VP Admin, Architect Lokesh Madhivanan Sir, and co-convener, HOD Professor, Architect Ashok Kumar Sir. Our beloved faculty members and my fellow students who were kind enough to shower us with such encouragement to have our very own hashtag 2020 on a virtual platform. I am Sai Shruti and with me is Manisha, and we will be coordinating the workshop session for the day.
Hello everyone. Hope all are doing good and safe in this pandemic situation. This workshop is not going to be like our regular classes where the questions will be asked to the faculty at the end of the session. So feel free to attend the full workshop. We are looking for an interactive session. Our motive is by the end of this workshop, we want everyone to have a clear knowledge of how to create a wall hanging and a Somerset patchwork. I now request our VP Admin, Architect Lokesh Madhivanan Sir, to give a welcome note.
Yes, good afternoon, one and all present here. And I was so happy that SEED students are very much enthusiastically doing all the workshops, calligraphy workshops. Morning it went well. Again, secondly, wall mural, all those things. And Samyukta and one more girl was doing really good, and I appreciated wholeheartedly. I hope they will rock this show, and they are the hero of this show, and they will do it very well. And also, I am appreciating Sai Shruti for the wonderful, leading personality of students community. And also, Manisha, I am appreciating you wholeheartedly. You are doing really well. And also, all the students of SRMC, I am just warmly welcome you all for this wonderful session. In this pandemic situation, also, we are making you engaged in something. So that is really very important thing. So make use of it. I think with this short note, I will hand over the mic to, last but not least, I want to thank my management, chairman sir, who have been a tremendous support for this entire event. He's been keep on watching you guys, whatever you are doing, promo videos, whatever it is, that especially Sai Shruti, that you are in one promo video. I think I got redo and all. That was really reached very well. And once again, thank you all and for the wonderful support. I'm thanking my chairman sir, co-chairman sir, director sir, Dean ENT and Dean KTR for this making this event grand success. It will reach to its heights. Hashtag as its own brand. All the best to you all. Handing over the mic to concern. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
To avoid inconvenience for all of us, I request all of the participants to keep your mics and videos switched off throughout the presentation. Participants can use the chat box to ask questions, and these will be addressed in the Q&A session towards the end of the workshop. Kindly refrain from using offensive language in the chat box. Thank you. I now request Manisha to introduce our speakers for the day.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is indeed my pleasure to introduce Samyukta and Anagha, who are students of SRMC studying in BEDA's third year. They have participated and helped out in various college events. They were part of Fine Arts Club in SRMC and hosted multiple workshops last year. Samyukta is interested in set designing and has helped in designing 2 restaurant outlets over the past 3 years. Anagha has various interests and she is learning new types of crafts, and Somerset Patchwork is one of them, and have recently developed an interest in Macrame and Somerset Patchwork and will be sharing the knowledge about the same. Samyukta, kindly take over the presentation.
Thank you, Manisha. Thank you everyone for coming to this workshop. So I'm Samyukta and I will be taking the first half hour of this entire session. I'll be teaching you how to do macrame, all the basic things that you need to know. So let's start. So macrame is basically just a knotting technique. It's different knots that you do to make cushions, wall hangings, different things. So today I'll be just teaching you how to make a simple, basic, but still good looking macrame wall hanging. And you might have seen macrame being sold in a lot of stores for a pretty expensive rate. It's usually 800 to 1000 rupees. So in this workshop, you'll see that it is possible to do it at home. All you need is rope and a lot of patience, because macrame is quite time consuming. So make sure you have everything you need. So if you do have rope with you at home, you can try along with me. So I will take you through all the materials that you need. So for macrame, the most important thing is the rope. You can use different kinds of rope, but there are different cost factors, availability factors, and budget also. So depending on that, you can pick it. So I will just take you through a few materials. So I think that the ideal material for macrame would be cotton rope. So this is what it looks like. So in this cotton rope, you can see that it's made out of different strands. This is the best kind of rope. This is very good quality and it's also very easy to work with. This is a 4 mm thickness. And it also, this is the kind of rope that gives you the bohemian look that you want macrame to have. And apart from this cotton rope, there's also something called a twisted cotton rope. That is also a good option, but personally, I don't like the finished output that I get. It can be quite messy if the quality is not good. So make sure you take the right pick if you're choosing cotton rope. Apart from that, a good alternative is yarn. So I prefer chunky yarn. So that is, it'll be basically 8 to 10 mm. And when you use such thick yarn, you'll be able to see your design quite well compared to if you use 2 or 3 mm. You can use 5 yarn also, but the design will still be pretty small. I have made a wall hanging out of yarn before. So I just use basic square knots. This is what I'll be teaching you today. And apart from yarn, you can also use nylon thread. So since I was not able to go out and buy any materials, I had a nylon rope at home. So this is also a good alternative. You also get this in a lot of different colors. So currently I only have white, which is not my preference, but we just have to make do with this. And yeah, so if you are choosing yarn, make sure you choose like a cheaper option because for macrame, you need a lot of rope. You might think that 50 meters is a lot, but trust me, it is not. The biggest enemy for macrame is the amount of rope you have. It will get over before you know, it'll be uneven because you'll be using different knots and different knots require different amount of rope. So you have to make sure you buy excess rope. It's better to have excess than run out of rope while you're doing like a design that is important. So yeah, but my preference would definitely be the cotton rope. So I will show you. This is what I made out of cotton rope. You can clearly see the difference between this, which is out of good quality cotton rope, and this, which I made out of yarn. So you just have to decide what you want your final output to look like, and then decide your material. And cotton rope, you get it usually on Amazon. This one, I think I got 60 meters for 250, whereas yarn is pretty expensive. So choose wisely is what I would say. Apart from this, what you also need to make macrame is a dowel. So this is just a piece of wood that I got from a carpenter's shop. So you can get it for free, or if not, also it's pretty cheap. You can use it. Or if you don't have it, you can always use a hanger that you have at home. That is also a good option. And another important thing for macrame is the size of the rope. So, like I said, the amount of rope that you need to use is a very, very important factor for macrame. So, there is a particular way to calculate it depending on the types of knots you're going to be using. So, usually, what I do is I first pick the size of my final piece. So, for example, if I want my final piece to be, say, 30 centimeters, then you have to take a little more than double that size. So that means double of 30 would be 60 and take a little extra. And when I say little, I mean like 15 to 20 centimeters. It might seem like a lot, but trust me, at the end, you might end up running out because that's happened to me a lot of times. So if you want to make a 30 centimeter piece, just go ahead and take like 80 centimeter long rope because you're going to be taking that rope and you're going to be folding it into two and then attaching it to your dowel using a knot. So I will be showing you how to do that. I'll show you how to attach the rope to the dowel. And apart from that, you have to, a good way to go about macrame is deciding what kind of knots you're going to use and what design you want. But macrame is also a pretty versatile art form where you tend to start with one design in your mind, and depending on how well your knots come out or just you running out of rope, you might change your design as you go. But that's not a problem. It's happened to me a lot of times. I've seen it happen to a lot of people. So don't worry about running out of rope. There are methods to fix like another rope through it. It is quite hard, but once you do it, you'll get the hang of it. There is no problem in that. And so I'll be teaching you 3 knots. So the first one is called a lark thread knot, which is the knot that you use to attach the rope to a dowel. The second one is a square knot, very basic knot. And the third one is a double half hitch knot. Okay, so I will first teach you how to attach these knots. I've made a few because we only have little time. So I'll show you how to attach the lark's head knot. It's also called a clove knot. So first, I'm just taking a long strand of rope. Right now, I'm just eyeballing it because it's not, I don't have a set design in my mind. So just fold the rope into two, and you'll have this loop. So what you have to do is send this through the bottom like this, and then you're going to take the ends of this rope, that is these two strands, and you're going to put it through this, and you just bring it, and you have this knot. This is the lark's head knot. Make sure it's very, very, very tight. I'll do it once more so that it's clear. So again, the same thing. You just fold it into two, and then you have to send it through the bottom. Okay. So this is an inverse of a lark's head knot. You can do whichever one you want to. That's not a problem. So moving on, I will teach you how to make a square knot. So to make a single square knot, you will need 4 strands of rope. So I'm just moving everything else aside. So I have 4 strands here. So what you do is take the 2 strands on the corner, keep it aside. So the 2 knots in the center are called your anchor cords because these cords won't be moving. You're going to use these 2 cords, and these are called the working cords. So what you have to do is take the left one and make a 4. That is, you will make this and you'll take this one and keep it over it. So you see that it's forming kind of a 4. And then take the end of this knot and you will lift these and send it through this loop on the left side. And then you just pull it. And this is half of a square knot. So you have to repeat the same process on the opposite side. So you make a 4, take this over it. So this will be your 4. And then you lift these 2 cords, send this through, and just pull both, pull it tightly, and you'll form a single square knot. So that is one square knot. And if you use cotton rope, this is what it would look like. This is twisted cotton rope. And yeah, so this is one. And once you're done with this, I'm just moving it aside. And then you can continue the same thing. So you're going to make, what we are going to do for today's design is we're going to make one row. We're going to make this. So you'll make sort of a V, and then we'll make a diamond as we go. So yeah, this is half a knot. This is the other half. Okay. So this is your completed first row. So this is what it looks like. So you have 3 square knots. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a V like this. So this means that in the next row, I will only have 2 square knots in between these 3. So when you want to make this kind of V, what you do is you have to leave 2 strands on the outside. You're just going to leave it. You're not going to do anything. So these 2 also I'm pushing aside. So we're only going to work with these 8 strands. So I'm taking the first 4, and the first 4 is 2 of this square knot and 2 of this square knot. Strands. And then I'm taking the 2 outside again. So this will be my anchor cords. So I'm just repeating the same square knot process. So half a knot and the other half. So I'll just move this aside. And then the next 4. Yeah, so this row is done. So in this row, we only had 2. So that's because we left 2 on the outside. So you see there's 3 and then there's 2. Okay, so for the final row, we'll be doing a single one. So every time you go over the row, what you have to do is you have to leave 2 more strands on the outside. So for the first time, we had left 2. So for this time, we leave the next 2. So when you do that, automatically, you're only going to have 4 cords in the center. So leave 2 as the anchor cords and then repeat the same thing. Yeah, so the third row is done. So you can see that it forms sort of a V. So to make this more clear, what we do is we make the double half hitch knot. So that is this knot that you see. When you add this knot, your design is going to be seen very clearly. And a double half hitch knot doesn't have to be used just in like a V pattern. It can also be used as a straight thing. But for now, for this design, I'm just going to show you how to make this particular V. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the left side. You take the cornermost strand and you make a V like this, like just pull it across and keep it in this position. And then take the next cord. This will be your anchor cord, and this time these will be your working cords. So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to loop it. It's just a basic knot, but in a double half hitch knot, you have to repeat it twice. So that is once, and again I'm taking it through and I'm just knotting it. So when you do it twice, you get a single double half hitch knot. So we did it with this strand, so this strand is done. So take the next one and then repeat the same thing. So that's one half of the double hitch knot, and then the other half. So when you make two, and also make sure it's tight, push it like this so that you get the correct thing. Make sure it's tight, because if it's not tight, it will not stand in place and it'll look a little odd. So I'm just going to continue and do the rest of it. Yeah, so when you come to the center, you have these two, right? So split one for this. So this is only one half of the V. And so this is my final thing. So this will stay here. Okay, so just pull it tightly so that it's proper. Okay, so this is one half of the V. Now you have to do the same thing for this side. Again, take the cornermost one and then make like a half V. And then repeat the same thing on this side. So just loop it.
Sorry for interrupting, Samyukta. We have got a question.
Yeah, sure.
So what is the ideal material needed for hanging plant holder?
For a plant holder, the best thing to do, material to use would probably be a cotton rope, because, and even a nylon rope is actually pretty good. But when you use something like yarn, the fibers might not be pretty strong depending on the quality. So I think I would recommend either a twisted cotton rope or just like a good quality normal cotton rope. Yeah.
Thank you.
So we're almost done with this too. Okay, so this is the final one. Always make sure it's tight.
Samyukta, can you actually show the knots a little closer?
Yeah, sure.
If it's possible for you, can you do one in a closer view?
Yeah, I'll actually be doing more, so I'll show it together. So this is what it looks like right now. So here you can see it's open, so you can just go ahead and you can either make a square knot here, or I'm just going to tie it up in like a normal way. I'll show you how to make the half hitch knot again up close. Just 1 second. Okay, so this is what the V is right now. So we have this V and we have this V. So I'm just going to move these together. So we're going to make a design out of this. So what I'm going to do is, now I want a diamond right here. So that's what we're going to do. So I'll try to show it up close if possible. I'll repeat it again. So for this, since I only want a diamond, I'm going to take these and leave it aside so that you don't get confused. I'm taking the other half. So from here to here, all the strands alone I have here. So for this, the process will be, I'm going to do one square knot and then two in the next row and then three in the next row and then two and one, just like a normal diamond. So I'm going to take the center four, push everything aside. Okay. So again, I'll show it to you again. So you make a four. So this goes under, this goes over, and then you lift these two, send this through this. and then make sure it's tight. That is half of a square knot. And then for the other half, you just repeat it on the other side. Okay, so that is your first row. Now take 2 more strands on each side. And now you're going to do 2 square knots in this row. So I'm just doing the same thing again. So that's 1. And then use the other 4 and make the other one. See, I'm already running out of rope. This is why I say always take extra rope, because your design will have to change if you don't have enough rope. So this row is done, and then I'm taking in 2 more for the row with 3 square knots. So I'm starting from the left corner. Okay, so the row with 3 square knots is done. Now there is this A type shape, and now we're going to make a V again. So again, you just have to do 2 and then 1. So again, just leave 2 strands just like you did before here. So 2 square knots with this row. Okay, so the row with 2 square knots is done. Now finally we need to make 1 final square knot in the center. So leave 2 more on the side. So you have the final 4. So this will be your final square knot. And then we have a sort of a diamond. Okay, so to act as an edging only, we usually use the double hitch knot. So I will show you how to make that here. So it forms like a perfect diamond. So again, I'm leaving these excess outside. And now take the outermost cord. Make sure all your cords are seen properly, because if you take a wrong cord, like here and I'll see it's like crossing over. Make sure that doesn't happen. It has to be straight. So take this again. So basically what you do is you keep this here and then take the next one. You're just going to loop it through this one. That is 1/2. And then repeat with the same strand with this anchor cord again. So when you do it twice, it makes a single half hitch knot. Okay, and then you just continue with the next few strands. If you don't do it twice, it will be left like this. So make sure you're counting. And this is the final one of this side. Okay, so that is 1/2. Make sure you pull it tightly so that there are no gaps. And then we have the other side. So just do the same thing for this side too. You just have to take the corner cord, keep it across, do the same thing. Yeah, we're almost done. So this is your final double half hitch knot. And once I'm done with this, I'm going to take the two anchor cords and I'm just going to tie it. Okay, so when you tie it, it comes closer together and it's fixed in place. So two knots again. Okay, so you can see we formed kind of V's and a diamond. So these are the three basic knots. So we did the lark's head knot, which was adding the knot to the dowel, and then the square knot, and then the half hitch knot. So yeah, 1 second, I'll switch to the other camera. Yeah, so these are the knots that you need. So with this, you can make many things. You can make a carpet. You can make cushions. I previously made a cushion. So in this, I made it during the lockdown. So I ran out of materials. So this is good quality cotton rope that I use. And then I ran out of this. So I used some twisted cotton rope. This is what it looks like. As you can see, when you use twisted cotton rope, the tassels that you make, they don't come out properly. So they look messy. And ran out of that. So I had to use yarn. So this is, I think, 4 to 5 yarn. So as you can see, the design is not that clear on yarn as it is on cotton rope. So depending on what you want it to look like, make sure you choose the correct type of material. And actually, I was going to make this throughout, but like I said, I ran out of rope, which is very unfortunate. So I just ended it by making tassels. Tassels are a very easy form of completing a piece of macrame, especially when you're using cotton rope. It is very easy to pull out all this. So you can do it manually by hand, or if that is actually very hard. So if you have a dog hairbrush, you can just brush it out because the combs are very fine toothed. So that is much easier than manually picking it apart. In yarn also, you can pick it apart pretty easily. So that's pretty much it for my workshop. So I hope you guys learned something fun and I hope you try it at home. If you have any questions, I think we can take it at the end after Anaga's.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Is there an option to join ropes when we run short of length?
Yeah, you can join ropes. So don't directly tie the rope. What you have to do is when you're the best way to do it would be to do it while you're making a square knot. So just take an other piece of rope and just loop it through your existing square knot. It's very simple. There are a lot of YouTube videos also. I wish I could show it right now, but we are running out of time and Anagha has to do it. It's very simple. You can do it, but just make sure you don't directly tie, don't just tie two pieces of this because it'll look very messy and it will look like a weird knot and just ruin your entire design. You just have to loop it into your existing square knot. And even for a the double half hitch knot, if you don't want to use the existing rope, you can take a separate piece of rope and then make the loops along it. For the cushion, I did use a double half hitch knot. Instead of using it as a V, I just used it as a buffer for the cushion. So yeah, that's about it. So if you have any more questions, you can ask me towards the end. So yeah, I think we can move on to Anagha's Somerset Patchwork. So thank you for listening. It. Thank you.
Is my video visible?
Yes, Anagha.
Okay, so hi, this is Anagha, and I'm going to show you guys how to do Somerset patchwork. So patchwork is basically fabric, like stitching fabric together in any defined pattern or something. So there are different types of patchwork, like there's Somerset patchwork, there is stained glass window patchwork, there's cathedral window patchwork. So there's a different kind of patchwork. So Somerset patchwork is one of them. The thing, so in Somerset patchwork, the main thing are these triangular elements. So we stitch them all together in a symmetric manner. So that is how this whole thing works. And this Somerset patchwork is based on the principle of balance and symmetry. The whole patchwork takes a lot of time to do. Like it took me like 5 to 6 hours to complete this whole 5 to 6 days. I'm sorry, it took me 5 to 6 days to complete this whole thing. So like, but it's like a leisure therapeutic thing. Like you can relax and do it in your home. So it's one such thing which you can do when you're like in your free time and all. The main thing are these triangular components. Like once you get a hang of it, it's very easy to do. It might look complicated, but no, it's really easy to do. So moving on to the materials part, we need basic is fabric. The fabric, like so you need fabric. So fabric can be any type. So I have used here cotton. So these are all leftover fabrics in my home. So I have taken cotton, and you can have either any type of fabric is fine, but cotton is like more stiff and it retains shape more easily. And then you need scissors, scale, pencil, and thread and needle, pins. All these are the most basic materials which you require. So I'll start the basic, the explanation, the steps part. So for the first step is that you need to take a square piece. So now I've taken 20 centimeter into 20 centimeter fabric. So now this size is not like it should be 20 centimeter and 20 centimeter. It can be any size. The size is like totally up to your wish. If you want a smaller size, you can do smaller one. If you want to do a bigger one, you can take a bigger size. Just make sure it's a square size. Now the first thing is to mark the grid. So you take the midpoints, mark the midpoint. So now I take 10 centimeter. I mark it in all the sides. Now, and then you join all the midpoints together. After this, you join the diagonals of the square. So this is the basic first grid which we form. Okay, so after this step, it's the second step is to cut a small piece of fabric, small square size. This can be of any size again, but it like I have taken correctly half, that is 10 centimeter to 10 centimeters what I have taken. But this also again is totally obvious. Like the smaller the size, the more prettier your Somerset patchwork will turn out. So we need to cut like five pieces of this same thing for the first round. So the first round will consist of 5 of this. So you need to make it into square, triangular pieces. So to make this triangular pieces, what you do is you take the square piece, you fold it vertically once, and then you fold it to get a cute square. After that, you open it again and join the ends to get the triangular piece.
Anagha,
So
can you
like
focus your camera? It's kind of blurred.
Okay. Now it's seen clearly?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Yeah, so you make like 4 pieces of this triangular component. So once that is done, you come back to your main grid base. So this will be your main base. After that, you take the smaller triangle, the smaller square piece, and then you place it along the diagonals in the center. So this is how it should look. So you can either change the color. Color is totally your wish, but if the bases are the same color, anyways, this base is not going to be seen once the layers come on top of it. So the color actually doesn't matter. So after this, you place the triangular components on top of the square. So you arrange it in such a way. So when you're arranging, make sure you pin it up so that it doesn't move. So I've already made like 4 triangular components. Yeah. So I'll pin it all up. So after this, after you pin all the 4 triangular components, the next step is to stitch them together, stitch them to the base. So you have to make sure you stitch this part to the base material. So the stitching can be done either hand stitch, like you can hand stitch it, or you can use a sewing machine. It's like your wish, but if you have a sewing machine, it's better to use a sewing machine because your stitches will be neat. Like mine, like I don't have a sewing machine, so I'm going to use like hand stitching. So the I'm gonna go do running. They can either use running stitch or back stitch. I prefer using back stitch because back stitch makes your thing stand firmly. So you stitch it, take it from down. And then you come back again, and then you go back to the first stitch where it ended. You're supposed to go back there to finish your second stitch. So that is how back stitch works. I'll show it to you guys one more time. So you take it in from down, you take it in, go back to the place where you finished the second stitch. So this is how back stitch works, and this is how we're going to stitch the whole thing. Since I'll take a long time stitching this whole full thing up, I've already done this part, so I'll show you that. So this is how the end thing will look, and make sure you iron your thing after each round because it will look more prettier and to retain its shape so that the next round will be easier to do. So as you can see, my stitches are not proper, but that's totally fine because when you put the next layer on top of it, these stitches are not going to be seen. So the next layer is again on top of the same layer. It's going to be placed like this. You leave some gap from the center. Make sure this crease is coinciding with this line. This opening. You can use any colors you want. You can either go in with the same colors, but if you use the same colors, I think it's not going to look that pretty. Like try using contrast colors. Yeah. So, and the next is you have to stitch it along the triangle's bottom side. So when you stitch this part, make sure you stitch it along the triangle's bottom line and to the main base, not to the other triangle, because if you try to stitch it to the other triangle, it's going to be difficult each time to put the needle in and to take it out. So that is one tip. Yeah, so you can stitch it to the main bottom thing. So when you do this, you'll have everything. So this is how your second row is going to look. The second row is going to be placed above your first row. Everything is going to be placed. So this is how your second row, once you finish, it's going to look. So again, the stitching part will take a lot of time. That's why this is as I told before, it's a leisure activity. Like when you're free or when you just want to relax. Once you're done with the triangle components, doing this is going to be pretty easy. Yeah. So after After done with the second round stitching, this is how it's going to look. As I told you, the stitches are not going to be seen, it's going to be hidden. So yeah, this is how it is going to look. Now for the third round. The third round, you place the triangular components not on top, but on this diagonal part. This is where you're going to place your triangular components. Now, when you keep this here, make sure it is not too far away from this center point, but not too close either. So keep it like in some distance, and the rest also you guys should place it somewhere there. So this is how you're going to place your third row. So now I guess you guys understood how the whole thing works. So after this, again, the fourth round happens on top of the third round. I'm repeating my colors here, but it's like totally your wish. You can either have like different colors here, like when you go to the next round. So you can have this on top of this. This on top of this. So this is how a fourth round is going to look. After this, for the fifth round, again, it is gonna be repetition. So it's gonna come back here. Okay, it's gonna be here. So that is how our fifth round is gonna work. So again, it comes the next sixth round is gonna come on top. This is how the whole Somerset patchwork works. One on top of the other. The first round will be one, the second round will be on top of that. Then the third one will be on the diagonals, and then the fourth round will be on top. So that's how it keeps repeating. So that's the most basic thing about Somerset patchwork. And once you come towards the end of it, like once you, so this is how the fourth, I've done the third and fourth row. So this is how it looks after the third and fourth row. So if you're like, if you like, it's okay, this is done. And then after this, you can finish it off either by stitching the edges together with a long rectangular piece of fabric, or you guys can leave it like this itself, or like cut off the edges alone, so that it makes a cute wall hanging. The thing is, like you can use this not only as wall hangings, but also like for cushion covers. Somerset patchwork is used for making like for quilts. It is used for making cute posters. It is used for cushion covers. It is used, and it is even used in the fashion field. Like there are clothes which are made from Somerset patchwork. So that's it about Somerset patchwork. So about the materials, you can use any materials. So I personally think that you guys can even use newspaper and even plastics. So I've done one model with plastics. So this is that. So I've used the same thing except like the plastics which is lying around in my home. So the milk packet covers and all. So there is the base is the cloth, and the second base also I've used is cloth, except that the triangular components are done with plastic. So the only disadvantage is that for stitching you have to go all in and do, the needle might break. It's a very tough thing to do. Otherwise, if you have a sewing machine, it's totally great. I mean, totally fine, and you can do it really well. And I think this plastic thing will look like very pretty if like you have different colors and all. So that's it about my workshop. I think you guys have learned something. Thank you so much for like helping me conduct this workshop.
Thank you, Anagha and Samyuktha. Speaking of learning, we learn only when our minds are curious. Having said that, we're now open for a question and answer session. Participants can put their questions in the chat box.
So we have got a question. How the color choices can be made for the Somerset patchwork?
I think you can choose any colors you want. Like like more contrast the colors is, the more prettier your whole Somerset patchwork will look. Like if you have the same colors, it will look kind of odd. And if you like even give like orange and yellow, it's not going to look so pretty. But then I think more colors you use, more pretty it's going to look.
We have got another question. Can we use silk material for patchwork?
See, you can use silk. Like I told you can use anything for this patchwork. But the thing is, if you use silk, it's not going to retain its hard property. Like it's not going to retain the shape. Like it's going to be a little bit flimsy because silk is like a soft material, so it's going to be a little bit flimsy.
Thank you. Thank you, Samyukta and Anagha. We are grateful for the time and effort you took to share your thoughts and knowledge with us. Thank you once again. If you have further doubts regarding the workshop, you can reach out to us in our social media handles on Instagram and Facebook. The links are shared in our chat box. Follow us for more update on our events, webinars, and workshops. By this, we intend for all of us to step into the digital platform where our world is actually headed.
I now request our HOD Professor Architect M. Ashok Kumar Sir to give the thank you note. I really want to thank our management, our beloved VP Admin Architect Lokesh Madhvanand Sir and HOD Professor Architect Ashok Kumar Sir, our faculty members and our fellow students for their constant support. Special thanks to our digital and technical team who helped us in having our very own hashtag 2020 on a virtual platform. For tomorrow's session, we have mural and relief workshop with clay by Mr. Artist Saravana. The link will be available in the chat box. Thank you everyone for participating today. We will meet you guys at the same time tomorrow. Signing off.
Thanks,
Jai
man.
Shri.
Do fill in the feedback form.